DMA. I don't think anybody sees these in beginning intros. Another day with WDMA. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglosh for the WDMA. We're going to be talking about recession today. So here we go. You don't tune me out here. It might be better than you think. Okay, so Tom Fishburne's cartoon this week shows a kid in a ghost costume. Those were always easy to make from old bed sheets. A witch's costume. Those were harder. And a risk of recession. And the guy with the candy bowl faints because this one is so scary. Okay? This one is so scary, right? And so Tom says there's nothing spookier than this Halloween than some of the headlines. And I got to give him that one. And Sapio Research recently found that a whopping 95% of global businesses are concerned about a potential recession, with 45%, or almost half, if you think about it, of U.S. businesses highly concerned. Fear can drive a knee-jerk response in a recessionary environment to cut marketing budgets, media spend, hiring, headcount, R&D investment. Let's cut all that fluff out of the business. Let's just deliver customer experience. And, I understand that. I built a business simulation back in the 90s to help people understand catalog companies and how to run them. And the first one was about how to pick lists and how to pick products and how that dynamic works. And I did that one with Land's End, and it was really pretty popular. And I did it again in 2018 with the U.S. Postal Service, but they kind of cut the time too short. I also did it over in London with ECMOD, but our computers got stolen in transit, and that was a problem. That was a mess, I have to say. But anyway, there was a second simulation that I built, and in that simulation, the founder of the company said, "I'm going to grow. No matter what, come hell or high water." And we had the game kind of rigged so that no matter what you did in the first year, you weren't going to make a profit. I can write any way I want a simulation. And the accounting people who took the course, the CFOs and such, they would cut. They would cut. And then there were unforeseen circumstances or unforeseen consequences that, there weren't enough people to answer the phones. And the back orders went way up because there wasn't enough inventory. Inventory is a funny thing. The popular items sell out right away. And you don't always know which are going to be the popular items. So if you don't have a little bit of, if you don't aim with a little bit of depth there, you can run out of the popular items and not sell the unpopular items. You get the worst of both worlds that way. So I had one accounting guy, he looked like he was going to punch me in the nose. He was so mad about how he had done by cutting. But we told him the circulation is going to go up. No matter what the profitability, it's the founder. He doesn't care. He's got deep pockets and he wants to grow. And so the second year, if you cut, it would get worse. And the people that we told them, you need a certain number of people to keep the place running. Customer experience can dramatically decline just because you cut the marketing budget. You might forget that the customer service may be part of marketing. That's the way it was when I was VP of marketing. I thought that made tons of sense. They're people touching the customers. And if there's nobody there, it undermines customer faith. A lot of stuff happens, and even in operations, we did a lot of drop ship. If you start cutting staff there, you're not following up with your merchants. The time to ship goes way up, and all of a sudden your customer experience goes to pot. So it's tricky. Let's just say it's tricky. So that's what Tom is basically saying. Marketing budgets. Okay, so in 2010, Harvard Business Review published one of the most in-depth studies on how businesses historically operate during a recession. And they studied 4,700 public companies before, during, and after recessions to analyze the choices they made and how the businesses were affected. They found that an elite 9% of businesses that flourished after a slowdown. These post-recession winners were not the ones that cut costs faster and deeper. Those businesses had the lowest probability of pulling ahead. Okay, the ones that cut weren't likely to come out of the recession well. Nor were the boldest businesses necessarily the ones that survived. So not necessarily the ones who spent more. The companies that performed the best were the ones that found an elusive balance of cutting costs in some areas and investing in others. As they put it, the optimal combination of defense and offense. And that's why I think catalog companies do well during recessions, partly because they know what's working, unlike all marketers, which don't know what's working. Direct mail companies have a sense of what is working best. And that's my mission, is to get that across. If you really want to know what to do in a recession, you need to master the learning style of the direct marketing scientists. So it's hard to find that elusive balance while operating in a place of fear. Or as I always told my kids, it's hard to learn to sail in a thunderstorm. You really want to get the fundamentals down before that. Well, now we're here. Well, one possible answer is to get some people on your team, even as consultants or coaches, that have been through a dozen or so recessions, and you're not going to find that probably. But my next article is about someone is written by a guy who's been through 7, and I would say I've been through 5, although I don't know which counts, but I know I've been through a few. And I remember getting some coaching from a guy that was a friend and somewhat of a mentor and also my landlord. And he had said that he'd been through 4, I think at the time. And he said he always worked through them. He said productive people tend to keep working and keep achieving. And so you shouldn't worry too much about it. And that was really good advice. And sometimes our businesses prospered the most during downturns because people want help and they want to change. And the blessing and the curse is I will help you change. Not everybody will like the change, right? Some people will like it a lot and some people won't. And oftentimes it can bring huge financial benefits to some who stay the course in the company. Usually it does if they listen, but not everybody likes that. People are jealous. People are threatened. Anyway, setting aside the fear of recession is the key to knowing how to operate in a recession. And so that is what we're talking about today. And so here's another one. Let's cut expenses and try to ride it out. That's the freeze strategy. Then there's the flex. Let's invest in what's working. Again, helps if you know how to tell. And direct marketing is the answer for that. It doesn't. I don't need your whole budget. Just give me something. Just give me a good percentage of it, 20, 25%, and let's see what we can learn. That's the key. Okay, let's change what's not working. I got a couple of calls this last couple weeks about, presidents and CEOs saying, we keep upping our digital spend, but it doesn't seem to be growing our business anymore. And there's reasons for that. There's a lot of reasons. You're increasing your spend in an auction. And when you bid more, somebody else can bid more. It's the ultimate capitalism, but it may not benefit the advertiser. Okay, so let's change what's not working. And this is pretty much a summary of Tom's perspective on here. And then there's freak out. And then he's got a couple, and in case of emergency, all it says is to cut our budget, our marketing budget. And here's 2 of them, the 5 stages of missing plan: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. And then there's another one. Uh, these are some good ones. You might want to get over to WDMA afterwards and find that one. Okay, this was from Sharon Miller, who I reached out to because I didn't get a copy of the Canada Post magazine, but they put apples on the cover, and they were illustrating. Insight magazine is something that is put out by Canada Post. I'm not on the list, so I sent Sharon my address in a comment. I hope I get one. I don't know if I will, but it looks to me it just looks to me like spot varnish on a matte background. I don't know if this is the photography or if this is a light shining on the piece to illustrate the spot varnish. I think that's what it is, because there's a little piece over here which you wouldn't light an apple that way. It wouldn't show this little ridge. Excuse me. But the little ridge is probably from the increased height of the varnish. That's my guess, looking at a picture of a picture. I'm curious about this brown bag. Is that actually glued on there? Maybe it is. It looks like it is. That's a really interesting touch right there. So I'd like to hear more about that. And I noticed Mike Gunderson said he got one, so I'm going to give him a call. I also want to talk to him about, I had a wonderful talk with David Kaplan from the performance marketing side of Adweek. And he's curious about this direct marketing that we're talking about. And I reached out to him a couple of weeks ago because he had a digital marketing conference, I think, in New York City. And I said, how come you don't have any direct marketing conferences? No one else is either, by the way. So, except the WDMA, we get together regularly around the state and around Minneapolis, especially Minnetonka. Anyway, so you can incorporate touch, and the apples feel so good to the touch, they look good enough to eat. I'm off to the supermarket to buy some, and I forgot the apples, my usual daily apple. This is proof that print embellishments sell products. You know, I'm not sure that's true, because the print embellishment is designed to sell print embellishment. But the apples do look, I always have loved spot varnish from the very first time I saw it. It makes, you know, especially when you have block out images, it makes them pop right off the page. And I really, really like it. Now, if you had scratch and sniff, which should be not that hard, you'd be all set. And if you're selling apples, let's go on. 4 critical questions you should be asking yourself about marketing during a recession. Okay, so this is from Craig Huey, and don't miss number 4. So number 1, what have past recessions taught us? That one is the same question that Tom Fishburne is asking. Every president and marketing director dreads the word recession, but some see recession as a great opportunity to get ahead. I know a famous guy in real estate who said, I got most of my best buys in recessions. It's also a way to dominate your market. As I mentioned last week, Bob Dorney, who was one of the co-founders of Daytimers, said that they tended to build up a war chest of retained earnings during good times, and then would increase their advertising spend during recessions to gain market share. And I think that's very, very wise. Bob was a very smart guy. And he said that's basically when we grew and how we grew. You know, we didn't grow in good times. We grew in the recessions. And that's something to think about if you're a CEO or a CFO. Although the CEO tends to be more growth focused and the CFO more cut conscious. Okay, there's less competition. There's a change in media response. That's something I've been a little surprised about, that consumers are also looking for new deals and new products more than they would be when times are, you know, flat, which means they're open, changing consumer habits, giving you new opportunities to pick up market share, which is what Bob said to me. Okay, and here's the line I like best. Having navigated 7 recessions, this is the time, you know, especially if you're a new digital marketer. I found out yesterday that I was a judge for the International Echo Awards which is a great honor. And I was a judge with people from Germany, UK, Brazil, Argentina. It was really a lot of fun. Um, but I found out that the ANA has axed the echoes, and it's been continuously going since I don't know what, the 20s, I think. It was about 85, 86 years. So I guess I did that in also. So I was talking to Lisa from the ANA. I think she is officially from the ANA about how I wrote back and I said those digital marketers have no sense of tradition, and that is, I think, I mean, it's not, no offense, but digital marketing wasn't even on the charts. It wasn't even measured until 2009. So we're not even 15 years into digital marketing. So why would you care about a tradition that's gone back better part of 100 years? Anyway, so Craig, yeah, he's been through it, right? And he's seen great new launches and successful growth. You gotta have a little hope. You always have to have hope to launch a new idea, okay? And not only does change beget opportunity, but advertising is also simply too important to skip out. He says that Henry Ford said, the man who stops advertising to save money is like a man who stops a clock to save time. Interesting. Okay. And then he says studies, which I was concerned about. But again, get this article. It's available on wdma.org. You go over there, you look in the member benefits, and you'll find every day's marked up thing. Okay, critical question number 2. Does my position match the economic reality or mentality? Okay, always a difficult one, but that's why we test. We test to measure the causal force of our offer. And oftentimes, just the headline can change the result 30 or 40%. That's the skill, and I don't mean clicks. Because oftentimes, as Craig's pointed out, I think just in one of his more recent articles, the offer that gets the most clicks may not get the most sales. May be radically different. And depending on how you follow up with the clicks, if you're sending out information and that's got a cost, then you may actually do worse on a very attractive headline that doesn't convert in the second step. So always important. Okay, always important to keep that in mind. I was going to go down to question number 3. Is my new copy still the best it can be? Again, testing. And you can ask yourself these questions about your copy. Number 4, does my marketing plan support my business goals? Okay, and I'm not 100% sure about that one. You might want to give Craig a call, and here's the number. But anyway, we're working on some exciting new stuff. We're working on, it's secret. It's secret. But it's exciting. And so stay in the loop. Stay along with us. If you just want to hear about what events we have planned, and if we do a webinar or something, then go over to WDMA or go on LinkedIn and look up Wisconsin Direct Marketing Association. There is a page there, and I always post events in that page. And it's hard to get out to 12,000 friends and connections on LinkedIn. So go there and join, and you won't get harassed. You won't get many posts, but you will get posts occasionally about things we're doing that's exciting. Have a great day.